Sometimes reality is just, well, it's stranger than fiction.
It really is.
So we're diving into this story about a house in Malibu.
Okay.
And this house survived a massive wildfire, like completely unscathed.
Wow.
While everything around it, everything, just burned to ashes.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures.
People are calling it the Malibu Miracle House. And,
I can see why.
yeah, and for good reason.
Yeah.
This isn't like some little shack in the woods.
Right.
This is a $9 million mansion.
$9 million.
Yeah. It belongs to this retired waste management mogul, a guy named David Steiner.
Well, that's a story that grabs your attention right there.
Right.
Yeah.
So it really does make you wonder how this particular house survived when so many others didn't.
Yeah. Was it just luck? Or is there something more to it?
Well, that's what we're here to figure out today.
Yeah.
So let's start with setting the scene, right?
Okay.
Malibu. It's known for, it's a beautiful coastline.
Oh, yeah.
But also, unfortunately, these wildfires.
Mm.
And these recent fires just ripped through the area, left a trail of destruction,
Yeah, the reports that we have are just grim.
Really?
Thousands of acres burned, hundreds of homes lost. The whole community is in shock and disbelief.
It's understandable, yeah. And yet, in the middle of all of this devastation, there's Steiner's house.
Still standing.
Gleaming white. Completely intact. Like it was, like photoshopped into the landscape.
Really?
Yeah, when you see the photos, it's almost eerie.
Huh.
Yeah.
It is a powerful image. Yeah.
It is, and it really kind of makes you realize how unpredictable these fires are.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
So let's talk about this house for a sec. Okay, from the sources we've got, we know that it was built with some really unique features.
Okay, like what?
Stucco and stone walls.
Huh.
It has a fireproof roof.
Okay.
And get this, the pilings are driven like 50 feet into bedrock.
Oh, wow.
It sounds more like a fortress than a house, doesn't it?
It does. Like he planned for this or something.
But that's the thing. He didn't. And Steiner even said in one of his interviews that the house was actually designed to withstand earthquakes.
Ah, which makes sense in California.
Exactly. He said, and I quote, "I never in a million years thought a wildfire would jump to the Pacific Coast Highway and start a fire."
Well, you never know.
Right? Goes to show you can't always anticipate every single threat.
You really can't. No.
But in this case, though, the measures he took for earthquake protection seem to have accidentally, provided some fire resistance too.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, how did those features help?
Yeah, how?
What makes a roof fireproof anyway?
Right.
What's so special about stucco and stone when you're talking about a wildfire?
Well, let's break it down. A fireproof roof.
Okay.
It typically means that the roof covering is made of, materials like tile or metal or slate.
Okay.
Which are non-combustible.
Oh, I see.
So they can withstand these high temperatures without actually igniting, which prevents the fire from spreading to the, to the structure below.
Oh, that makes sense.
Now, stucco and stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just inherently less flammable than wood.
Oh, okay.
Which is, what a lot of homes in fire-prone areas are made of.
Yeah, true.
They have a higher ignition point and they burn more slowly.
Oh, okay.
So they provide a much, much needed barrier against those flames.
So it's like he accidentally built a fire-resistant bunker?
Yeah, in a way, kind of. But we do have to remember that there were probably some other factors that helped the house survive too, right?
No, not quite.
Well, the location being on the coast probably helped because there's less vegetation around.
Oh, less fuel for the fire.
Exactly. So that probably limited the fuel sources.
Okay, so a combination of intentional design, a little bit of luck, and a good location.
Yeah.
It's all came together to create this miracle.
It did. And that brings us to kind of the human element of this story, which I find particularly interesting.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This is where things get really compelling.
Right.
Steiner himself, he initially thought his house was gone.
No way.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Oh, I can't even imagine that feeling, thinking you've lost everything.
Yeah, devastating.
Yeah.
Well, from what we know, he was watching these news reports, and he saw the footage of the fire approaching his property.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and he even got this video from a contractor.
Uh-oh.
Showing the flames getting dangerously close.
Oh, no.
Talk about a sinking feeling.
Yeah, that's awful.
But then there's a plot twist.
What?
He starts getting all these messages from friends
Oh.
telling him his house is all over the news.
Oh, wow.
And not for the reasons he thought.
That's,
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
I bet it was just this wave of relief
It had to be.
and disbelief
Yeah.
that his home was still standing in the middle of all this devastation.
Oh,
It's almost like a movie.
that is.
Watching the whole world burn around you, and then there's your own haven.
Yeah.
Yeah. Untouched.
Talk about a roller coaster
Right.
of emotions.
It really makes you think about, like, resilience.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just our buildings, but also ourselves, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But what gets me about this story is it kind of starts this bigger conversation, right?
It does. Yeah.
Like, what if all homes could be this resilient?
Right.
What if we could be more prepared for these kinds of disasters?
Exactly. I mean, I know not everyone can afford a $9 million fortress.
Right.
But there are some things we can all learn from Steiner's house,
Yeah. Okay.
even if it was accidentally fire resistant.
Okay, so what are those takeaways? Like, how can we actually use this Malibu miracle to inform future building?
Well, I think the first thing is material selection really matters.
Yeah, okay.
We've talked about stucco and stone, metal roofing,
Right.
but there are other things too, like fire resistant insulation,
Oh, yeah.
siding, even things like clearing the vegetation around your house.
Oh, to create that defensible space.
Exactly.
Okay.
Ember-resistant vents.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All these things can help a home withstand a wildfire.
So it's not just like one magic material.
No, it's about the whole approach, how you build and design it.
Okay, so building codes.
Yeah.
Right? Could Steiner's house, even though it wasn't built for this, offer some insights into how we update those?
It could, yeah. I mean, how do we address wildfire risks?
Yeah.
Especially in areas that are prone to them.
Right. Maybe mandating those fire-resistant materials you talked about.
It's possible, or incorporating those design features
Yeah.
to make homes more, defensible against these fires.
That's interesting. But then there's that question of affordability, right?
There is, yeah. How do we make these resilient structures, but also keep housing affordable?
Right, because I imagine some of these features can get pretty expensive.
They can, yeah. But there are always ways to, do it cost effectively. Well, for instance, a metal roof,
Okay.
it might cost more up front,
Yeah.
but it's durable.
Right.
It's fire resistant.
So you're saving money in the long run.
Exactly. So making smart choices.
Right. Okay. So what about the areas where wildfires aren't really a big threat?
Mm.
Can we still learn something from this?
Oh, for sure. Resilience is more than just surviving one disaster, right?
Oh.
It's about preparing for anything.
Oh, right.
And a lot of these design principles, they apply to a lot of different hazards.
Okay, like what?
Well, wildfires, hurricanes, floods, even earthquakes.
So thinking beyond just fire-resistant stuff,
Yeah.
what other things make a home truly resilient?
Well, impact-resistant windows and doors
Okay.
that can protect against, flying debris.
During a storm.
Yeah. High winds or even break-ins.
Okay.
Reinforced foundations
Mm-hmm.
that can help with earthquakes or floods.
And then there's backup power too, right?
Right. Like a generator or solar panels with battery storage.
Right. Okay, so you're not completely in the dark if the power goes out?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like building a house that's ready for anything.
It is. It's like a fortress of resilience.
Right. But you mentioned something before about resilience not just being about the physical structure.
It's not. You're right.
So what else is there?
Well, a resilient home, it's only as strong as the people living in it.
Right. Okay.
So having a well-stocked emergency kit, a communication plan,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
even basic first aid and survival skills,
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
that can be just as important as the, physical features.
It's about being mentally and logistically prepared,
Exactly.
not just structurally. Because when disaster strikes, it's not just surviving the impact.
Yeah,
It's about being able to recover.
it is. And rebuild.
Mm.
And that brings us to another crucial part of resilience. Community.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
These Malibu fires, they showed how important it is for neighbors to help each other,
Right.
for communities to come together and support each other when things get tough.
That's so true. Yeah. Because in the end, resilience isn't just an individual thing.
That's
I think.
not. We're all in this together.
Exactly.
And as we saw with Steiner's house, sometimes preparing for one disaster can unexpectedly protect you from another one.
Huh.
There's always some luck involved.
Yeah.
But we can increase our chances of good fortune if we plan and design thoughtfully.
So it's like the universe rewards you for being prepared, even if you're prepared for the wrong thing.
Kind of, yeah.
But then it also makes you think about the other side of this.
It does, yeah.
What about the people who weren't as lucky as Steiner?
Right.
What about the people who lost everything?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. You know, for every miracle house, there are so many stories of loss.
Yeah, it really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? Resilience isn't just about getting yourself ready. It's also about looking at the things that make some communities more vulnerable than others.
Right, like not everyone has the same resources.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess even the way we design our communities, like physically, can affect how well people can handle a disaster.
It all plays a role. You know, Steiner's house, it got us talking about building practices, but it also makes you think about fairness.
Right, yeah.
Can we make these resilient building practices like affordable for everyone?
That's a really good question. It's complicated, right? There's no easy answer.
It is complicated, but it's something we need to talk about if we want to make communities that can bounce back.
Communities where everyone has a chance, right?
Exactly. And I think that's really the big lesson from this Malibu miracle.
Yeah.
It's not about being amazed by one lucky house.
Right.
It's about using this story to think about our own preparedness, you know?
Individually and as a community.
Exactly.
So for our listeners out there, what can we all do to be more resilient, like no matter where we live or how much money we have?
Well, first, just be aware.
Okay, yeah.
Learn about the risks in your area.
Right.
Wildfires, floods, earthquakes, whatever it might be.
There's got to be resources out there to help with that, right?
Oh, yeah. There are tons of resources online, through your local government.
Okay, so knowledge is power.
Exactly. And once you know the risks, you can start to prepare.
So what kind of things can people do?
Start with an emergency kit.
Okay.
You know, water, food, first aid stuff, the essentials.
Right.
Make a communication plan with your family in case you get separated.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
What about insurance?
Oh, yes. Definitely check your insurance. Make sure it's up to date. People forget about that.
It's easy to overlook, yeah?
It is. And beyond those things, you know, get involved in your community.
Okay, yeah.
Support things that make your community stronger.
Like what?
You know, push for better building codes.
Right.
Join those neighborhood preparedness programs.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Or just, you know, help out your neighbors when they need it.
Yeah, lend a hand.
Yeah.
Because like you said before, we're all in this together.
We are. And the more we work together, the stronger we'll be when those challenges come our way.
Well said. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into the Malibu Miracle House, let's leave our listeners with this.
Okay.
Resilience isn't about being invincible.
Right.
It's about being prepared, ready to adapt, and connected to our community.
Yeah.
And hey, a little bit of luck never hurts either.
Never hurts. And who knows, maybe your own resilience story is just waiting to happen.